All right, thank you everyone for being patient. It's Friday, and sometimes technology doesn't always work the way that we want it to do, which is kind of ironic since we're talking about technology today, but that's okay. My name is Heldmann. I'm an occupational therapy assistant, and I work at the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities. So we serve individuals all across Wood County with intellectual and developmental disabilities from the start of their life to the end of their life. Our department is lucky enough to work with individuals ages 3 to end of life. So we do a little bit of everything. And Carly is also with me. She happens to be my boss, so I have to be on my best behavior. But she can introduce herself as well.
I'm Carly Dauch. I'm an occupational therapist and the health support coordinator for the Wood County Board of DD. So I think Sarah did a nice job of introducing our agency. So we're here to present about how technology can be helpful in maximizing safety and independence for aging.
Thank you. Oh boy.
Wonderful technology.
Oh boy.
We don't have an extra handout in
There it goes.
Oh, okay, great.
Maybe I'll just stand over here.
Yeah, you
We'll
see
really confuse the owl. So the Wood County Committee on Aging, their mission, when you all come here, is to provide older adults with services and programs which empower you to remain independent and improve the quality of your life. So hopefully coming to things like this and playing euchre this afternoon, which I wish I could stay for. I love playing euchre. And doing all the great socialization things and exercise things that you're doing is really helping you improve the quality of your life. And then our mission at the county board is to support, empower, and inspire people to live their best life. So we really feel like the two missions of the two agencies really kind of overlap and align with one another, which is fun, right? We're all doing things to live our best lives. How'd I do it? Yeah, this mouse, she's not joking, this mouse is snippy.
You're up there now.
Okay.
All right, so why technology? So it can help to do personal care, medication management, health management, mobility, just keeping you safe in your house or in the community with household chores, meals, and staying connected with your loved ones and other people. So we brought some of the stuff today to highlight that, but this is the why for our presentation here. So remote support services helps to connect individuals with caregiving support remotely. So just like it sounds, remote support. So instead of having a physical caregiver in the home, it's someone who is on kind of a video call and helping to support the person, but they're not always on that video call. So they use different technologies within the person's home to make sure that they're staying safe. And most of the time that's not cameras. So most of the time it's sensor technology. So for example, a sensor on your bed, a sensor on your door to get out of your bedroom, a sensor in the bathroom. So the provider could know, okay, you're safe. You got up and out of bed, you left your bedroom and you went to the bathroom, normal morning routine, you're safe. And that's all without physically seeing you through a camera, but seeing you, the motion sensors of your activity in the house. And then the way that could be helpful is if they don't see any motion, right? What happened? Are you okay? Do you need help? Are you just sleeping in today? Or maybe they noticed that you got up and out of bed because that sensor was activated, but then you never left the bedroom. So did you have a fall in your bedroom? So that can kind of help the providers to keep you safe. To just kind of know what's going on in the house. So we'll skip this video, but this is a video. So in Wood County, we have a home called Twin Tech, and it's a home that has remote supports and assistive technology in it. And it allows people to come tour it to see what we're talking about. And then the individuals that we serve are also able to stay overnight for the weekend to really try it and experience it. So it's a very cool house. I would encourage you to check it out if you can. The new house is currently being renovated here in Bowling Green. It's on Klotz Road, so it's not too far from here.
So when we talk about assistive technology, the definition that we use, it's a little bit wordy, but it's a piece of equipment, a software program, or a product system that's used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities. So if you kind of think about your everyday life and the things that you use to help you out through the day, there's a lot of things that fall under this big category of assistive technology. We're going to kind of divide that out by different things that we do in life and what technology can help us. So some general assistive technology solutions are smart home controls. So this would be things like being able to control the temperature of my house, turning lights on and off using my voice. Yep, Google or Alexa, if any of you are familiar with that. There's smart speakers, which Carly has one in her hand that we'll talk about in a second. Remote support well check. So have any of you ever had a telehealth visit with your doctor? So rather than having to physically go there, you can check in on a quick video call with them. And that's really helpful for a lot of individuals that we work with because transportation tends to be one of the biggest barriers for individuals. There's sensors like Carly talked about, and then visual schedules. I'm a very visual learner. I need visuals to get through my whole day. So visual schedules can be as simple as looking at my calendar and knowing what's coming next, or it could include pictures so I know what steps to do next. So Carly has, it's not plugged in, so we won't be able to play with it too much, but she has an Amazon Alexa product in her hand. This particular one actually has a small video screen on it as well. So you could have a phone call with a loved one and be able to see them. You could watch a YouTube video on there of your favorite music video. You can ask it the weather so you know how to dress that day. You can set reminders on it. I give the example that I am not a green thumb at all. I just really have a rough time with my plants. So last summer, my Alexa told me every night at 9 o'clock to go out and water my hanging basket, and they survived all summer. I was very proud of myself, but I wouldn't have done it without Alexa's help. So just some kind of silly examples of how she can be used. Some more practical things that help people are setting timers and reminders for appointments, reminding you to take medications, reminding you to feed the dog. You know, it's always a constant battle in my house. Did anyone feed the dog?
Yeah. So this one is an example that has a small screen, but they make some that have bigger screens too. We just brought this because it'd be easier to travel with. But there's some without screens, some with small screens, and then some with bigger screens that look more like a tablet or a small computer.
So when we talk about personal care, so taking care of our own bodies, we can talk about, it's kind of covered up there, but shower renovations. So making sure that showers and tubs are accessible for people to get in and out of. So oftentimes, you know, we're stepping over the side of a tub, so we can add in grab bars or special seating to a shower. What does that second one say? I'm gonna cheat off of yours.
So expensive.
So expensive. I did not come up with that one. Yeah, so as we age, and maybe our hands aren't working as well as they used to, automatic soap dispensers, we're used to seeing these in public restrooms, but you can actually buy them for your own bathrooms as well, pretty inexpensively. They also have toothpaste dispensers too, so if you have a hard time squeezing out the toothpaste, they have the dispensers for that. Motion sensors can go in the bathroom. Obviously, we don't want cameras in our bathrooms. But those motion sensors can detect if we've had a fall in the bathroom and can alert for help. Smart speakers can go in the bathroom for all the things that we've already talked about. A bidet is really becoming more and more popular. I know everyone giggles a little when we talk about a bidet. So if you're not familiar with what a bidet is, they're very common in other countries, but it gives a little squirt of water on your bottom after you've gone to the bathroom to help you clean up. I know everyone, and they can be warm water too, so it's not too uncomfortable. Oh my, I heard. But more and more people are getting those installed in their bathroom to help them clean up. Universal cups are just little sleeves that would slide on your hand to help you hold on to things. Those can be used for toothbrushes, hairbrushes, dining utensils, pens, you name it, we can probably have a cup for it. There's all sorts of special utensils that are out there to help you feed yourself. So Liftware and the OB robot are two of those. The Liftware, we didn't bring it with us today, but it's a spoon that no matter which way I turn my hand, the spoon stays level so the food doesn't spill out. So that's really nice.
The picture down here.
Yeah, the picture on the bottom right. So for individuals that maybe they're having some shaking or some tremoring or just having a hard time doing the scooping to your mouth motions, that's been really helpful. The OB robot is pictured in the top right corner. That's actually a robot that'll scoop your food and bring it up to your mouth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you think about, you know, if you know of any individuals that are having a harder time feeding themselves now, that's a really hard thing to lose independence with that. So adding in technology for that can be really empowering for individuals to continue to be able to feed themselves with the help of technology. Automated soap, paper towels, and faucets. I think we're all used to seeing those, especially because of COVID. You know, a lot of places switched over to the automatic faucets and paper towel dispensers, but they can actually be installed in the home as well. There's sleep trainer clocks. These help you know the difference between night and daytime. And monitor when you're sleeping and your sleep patterns. So that can help you get some good information to share with your healthcare provider too. Motion activated lights. I love motion activated lights because how many of you, get up in the middle of the night because you're going to go to the restroom and it's dark and you forget to turn on the light and then maybe you trip or fall over something. So motion activated lights, sometimes we'll install them on the bottom of a bed frame. That way, as soon as your feet hit the floor, the lights come on, and you'll be able to see where you're going. And then pressure sensors as well. Are those the ones that you're using on the bed? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, so am I laying on the bed or am I off of the bed so that my caregiver would know how often I'm getting up and out of bed and kind of where I'm at in the house without the use of a camera.
So fall detection pendants is one of the things on there. So this is called the Bell X. So this is, you may have seen commercials or the help I fallen and I can't get up kind of button. So that's what this is. They have built into them fall detection. So if it detects a big movement that it has fallen, then it would detect that you've fallen and it can call right through this device and say, hey, are you okay? And then if you're able to talk back, you can press the button and talk back. Or if you're not talking back, they could call 911 and or a loved one if they have kind of someone that they can call to let them know that, hey, we think we saw it, we detected a fall and they're not responding. So you may want to send someone to go check up on them. So these are nice because they have the fall detection right built in, they have communication right built in. So for this one, you program in who you want your contacts to be. So if you have, a daughter, a neighbor, someone that would be kind of on your call list, you can do it that way. And some of them just go right to kind of a nursing call center. So if there's another emergency you might be experiencing, maybe your blood sugar's off or something else has happened medically, you can press the button and they can help you through what might be going on or can help you to call emergency services. Many of these also have GPS in them as well. So if the person gets lost easily, maybe a caregiver or someone can use their app on their phone to help find you. And they can call you even and say, okay, you're going to turn right at the next street that you're coming up to, and they could maybe help get you somewhere safe or home if that's the case. So these are really cool because they have lots of capabilities within them.
I have a watch.
And watches,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say, there's lots. Oh, sure, I'll show you your watch. We got lots of watches around here. So smart watch, what kind is it? Fitbit, Apple? How fancy are you?
I think it's Verizon.
Verizon, okay. There's lots of different smart watches out there and a lot of these have fall detection in them as well. So if you fall, it will detect. So some of them, depending on how good they are, if you're a plopper and you just plop down on the couch, it might sometimes have some false alarms of, oh, you just popped down on the couch. So be mindful of that. Sometimes they're not always falls, but then all that would happen is they would call and say, hey, are you okay? And you'd say, yeah, I'm just getting comfy on my couch, right? So it's not that big of a deal, but that kind of can be a downfall. The watches are nice too, because they can monitor other health stuff. Good segue into the health monitoring piece.
Yeah, so we find that a lot of individuals need help monitoring their health. And this includes things like medication management. So as we have maybe more medication to take and more times of the day, and maybe some of you are experiencing this, it can become tricky to organize pills, to know what to take and when, and to know what all the different pills are for. So there's lots and lots of medication dispensers on the market. Some are very simple ones that you could find at Kroger or the dollar store. You know, they have Monday through Sunday on them, and you flip the little lids. And then we start getting into some fancier things that have notifications, they alarm. They can tell a loved one if you've missed a dose of your medication. So we brought the dose. It's not very creatively named. It's called the dose with us, and Carly can show that to you a little bit.
So the dispenser itself is this little circle. And so it has 14 slots in it. So if you take meds maybe twice a day, this would be a whole week's worth. If you take them once a day, this could be up to 2 weeks. And so what will happen is you program in here what time you take your meds. So we'll say 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So when 8 a.m. comes around, it's going to slide over. And you notice how it kind of went to that opening. You're going to flip it over and not eat these beads. But if they were your pills, right, you would maybe take your pills then. And so it's a smart device that has a sensor in it. So it recognizes when you flip it. So then if you forget to flip it, it could give you a call or a text message, or it will continue to alarm. Or it could contact a loved one too and say, so-and-so missed their dose this morning. And so then they could give you a call and say, hey, you haven't taken your meds yet. Now, if there's somebody who's tricky and wants to, you know, beat the system, you could just flip it and then toss your meds, right? And so that could be something to keep in mind. But you just unscrew the lid and then you can put your medications in the little spots. And this is how you do all the programming. It's asking me now, are you refilling the pill box? And they make devices to make it easier to fill too. They have different trays that you can use.
We also, there's some local pharmacies that will actually fill this device for you as well. So if actually sorting the pills is difficult, that is an option to have the pharmacy fill it for you. And they would bring just the tray and then you plop it.
You would keep this here.
Yep, you plop it into the machine. Screw it in there. Get as many trays as you want. Yeah.
They're really cool about their additional things. So it is a monthly cost, but the monthly cost can be up to 2 devices because they understand that some people might take meds 3 times a day or, you know, more than once or twice. And then this is just the adapted flipper. So if it's difficult for you to manage flipping and catching your medications, you can have it in here and then you just gotta flip it into a cup or something, and then you can take your medications that way. And they include,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why that little cup is nice, so they don't fall on the floor.
that's right. They include the flipper and this cup. Those are all free things. You just have to ask for it. So the dose is a cool option for things like that.
Carly and I do not work for a pharmacy, but we are really strong advocates for a bubble pack. So if you've never seen bubble pack before, some of the local pharmacies will do this. This is a lower technology option. It doesn't require to be plugged in or anything. But your pharmacist would sort your medications based on when you take them and the days of the week. So it takes the sorting part out, and then you simply just push them through. I'll do this one because it's already popped out. And then they just pop right out the back. And then you would know, I already took my medication for that day and time.
They're smart enough down here.
Say it again.
They're smart enough to do that.
They're smart enough to do that.
Yes, some people can manage that. And they can put more than one pill, obviously, in the spot. So that's nice too.
What pharmacy does that? I know you said you don't.
Yeah, we're not promoting any pharmacies,
which
but
one?
the drugstore of Perrysburg definitely does it. That's where these are from. And there's several other in town. So the nurse that we work with is actually, it's free if the pharmacy does it. So it's whatever your meds would cost to come in the bottle. We are currently working on a project of calling all the pharmacies in Wood County and asking who will do this, because this is a great solution when it's just hard to sort your pills. So I,
Time consuming too.
it is time consuming to sort pills, and we think that oftentimes a lot of loved ones are sorting pills for individuals, so it takes that step out, so.
So they can be delivered right to your house. So you can have them delivered,
I
packaged.
just left them a message yesterday.
My brother was the first one that they ever did,
Okay.
because he had another service. and
County
he
Health
lost that.
Department.
And
So
then.
she says Boyd County Health Department does it, so that's good to know.
Yeah. So if anyone knows of other pharmacies, we'd love to know, because we're in the middle of a project to figure out which pharmacies are offering it and which ones are not, so. Again, not promoting any specific pharmacy, but we like this as a service, so.
So some of these smart devices too are really nice, that you can connect other smart health management devices to them. So for example, a smart blood pressure cuff, you can put that on, take your blood pressure, and then the machine, the Priya, they don't make it anymore, but there's similar devices to this. The machine would then collect that data for you. So it would record every blood pressure that you take. They make smart scales so that all you do is step on the scale, and then that weight is sent to the machine, and it's gonna record the weight every time that you take it. Glucose, they have smart glucometers that you would take your blood sugar with, and then it would record all of those things. Pulse ox, you can take your oxygen levels, and then it will send it all to the machine or record all of that. So it's super nice because you don't have to write it down. You can just take your phone or a printout report of it right to the doctor and say, here you go. Here's all the questions you're gonna ask me. Here's my blood pressure, my sugar, my weight, my.
My brother had that, but he notified his doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, so some of the devices can be set up to notify your doctor if things are out of your normal range, which is really nice.
Daily report with the doctor.
There's also seizure monitoring, there's watches that'll detect seizure activity, there's mats that can go on the bed that'll detect seizures. So all different things, and then some of you have mentioned that you have the smart watches, that, you know, they'll track your steps and your heart rate, and some of them do even more than that, so.
There's also
Blood
dogs.
pressure on yours?
My dog has a service dog. and
Yep.
he-
They can detect seizures.
I
and
made a
then-
mistake one time. I said help when I was talking to her.
Oh, the dog came.
Oh, did he?
And sugar too, right? They have dogs that can sense like
Yeah.
sugar levels are
Yeah.
on. That's amazing.
That's a taste in your skin.
Right, just by giving you a kiss.
So when we talk about devices that can help with mobility, I think a lot of these will be things that you all are familiar with just from being out in the community. But canes, walkers, and wheelchairs, transfer aids. So transferring is just a fancy way of saying going from sitting to standing, or, you know, from my wheelchair to a regular chair. So there's sliding boards to help with transfer. There's different type of patient or individual movers like lifts, ramps to get in and out of buildings and homes, porch lifts. So sometimes on a home or a business, a ramp is not feasible due to the space constraints. So a porch lift is exactly what it sounds like. It's a little elevator kind of looking thing that's attached to a porch to bring you up to the entry level. Stair climbers, you may have seen, there's a lot of commercials for stair climbers. So you sit in a chair and it gives you a little ride up the stairs.
Oh, the kids are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at an individual's home recently and she said the grandkids have been riding the stair lift sometimes.
My
There's-
brother lived in a mobile home
Uh-huh,
and they had down in Florida, they put in some sort of like elevator
yeah,
and he would pull his chair in there.
outside.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's a porch lift. Yeah, that's exactly right. Ceiling track lifts are when there's actually a track in the ceiling and we can use a sling to help transfer an individual from place to place as far as that ceiling track will take them. And then there's more portable lifts as well. And then automatic door openers, we think about those as being on a lot of businesses that we go to. There's some on the doors here. They actually have started making them that you can put on your interior doors at home. And they're not as costly as I anticipated. I think they're a couple $100s, but not thousands of dollars like I was anticipating.
And so that you use a remote. And so you would use the remote or press the button and it would open and close your internal door. Yeah, until the batteries go down, that's right. Gotta replace those batteries. So staying safe, so we talked about some of these things already, but thinking about locks for just your front door, they have keypads, they have some that are biometric, which means it uses your fingerprint. So you just put your thumb up to it and then it would unlock and lock your door. They have this, smart locks that would connect to a phone app or something that can unlock and lock your door. Of course, there's safety considerations to that, just like there is for a regular lock, right? And the nice thing about that too, even if it's just forgetfulness of, did I lock my door? And then you can pull up your cell phone and lock your door from wherever you're at. That's what I use ours for the most, is I forget to lock it. So then I can pull my phone out and lock and unlock from wherever I am. Smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, you can get those hardwired in your home so that they would contact emergency services directly if they go off. Now, if you're like me and it goes off in your kitchen every time you're baking, probably not the best. But if you're someone who needs that support, you can have that, so it would contact for help. Strobe light, so if maybe you're hard of hearing or deaf, strobe lights can help so that you can see a fire alarm when it's going off. Those are in most public buildings too, so you've probably seen those. They also just make simpler bed alarms that are bed shakers that can vibrate your bed to wake you up, and then also have a strobe light connected to it. So again, if you're hard of hearing and you're afraid that some type of alarm isn't going to wake you up at night, a bed shaker might help you. And that's true not just for a smoke detector, because those are pretty loud, but maybe just your phone. If you think your a normal alarm would wake you up, or a phone call wouldn't wake you up. Emergency response pendants, that's like the Bell X that we talked about already. We talked about the sensors, I think enough, cameras, GPS devices. So similar to that pendant, they make GPS devices that can be worn. Video doorbells are very nice. Does anybody have a video doorbell? Those are becoming more popular. Okay. Yes.
My son has one.
Perfect. So it attaches right like a regular doorbell. And then that camera of the person who's there can be shown on your phone, or it can be shown on your Alexa or your Google device. Those are nice because it can help not only you to see who's at the door before getting up and going to check, but it can also help somebody else monitor. So if you're worried about any unwanted visitors, somebody else can be monitoring as well. So again, even if nobody's home, you would have a record of who maybe showed up at your door. So those are nice just for keeping you safe. An elopement system is just a fancy phrase for everything we've talked about as far as sensors, a video doorbell, cameras. So elopement just means getting out of the house. So if someone is, if there's a concern of wandering out of the house and being unsafe, an elopement system is just a fancy system that would help notify a caregiver if someone leaves the house.
Oh, everyone's favorite thing, doing chores at home. There's lots of technology, and some of these we've talked about. Smart home controls. So I mentioned you could, turn plugs on and off and change the temperature. But there's also vacuum cleaners, like if you've seen the Roomba commercials, so the robot vacuum cleaners. I love my robot vacuum cleaner because it does the work for me. I have 4 boys at home, so you can only imagine, right? So my robot vacuum cleaner does the work while I'm doing other things. The smart speakers we've talked about. There are also smart appliances. So they are coming out with appliances that can hook up to Google and Alexa. So you can speak to it and say, preheat the oven to 350 or turn the oven on for this long, and then it'll turn off. They have smart refrigerators where you can actually keep a catalog of what is in your refrigerator, and you can see it before you even open the door. I'm not that fancy. It's not that fancy either. In addition to the vacuums, they also have mops. So vacuuming and mopping are 2 of my least favorite chores. So I really love my little robot that runs around. Grocery pickup or delivery. Do any of you take advantage of that? So having your groceries delivered to your home, or pulling up to the grocery store and having them loaded into your car can be.
We all did that during COVID.
Yes,
Right.
during COVID. There's label readers. So there's applications that can be added onto your phone to read labels. There's also special pens that can be used, and you scan the pen over top of the label and it'll read it aloud to you if they're difficult to see.
Wow.
Yeah. A fridge cam. So sometimes individuals with disabilities have a tendency to binge eat or eat inappropriate things. So there can be actually a camera installed on the refrigerator. to keep them safe.
And what that's kind of nice for is if you go to the grocery store and you forget, did I use the rest of the milk? And then you can pull up your phone, look inside your fridge and say, oh, nope, there's the gallon, or nope, there's no gallon in there, so I need to get more milk while I'm here.
And then the genie can, I don't know.
Do you
if
remember that? The genie can is super cool. I'm not sure if it's still made or not. I haven't looked it up in a while, but the genie can is an attachment on your trash can. So anytime you throw something away, it scans it. So, okay, I've used the rest of the ketchup, boom. So then it scans it to my grocery.
Oh,
So I would remember, I need more ketchup or I need more milk. So these,
that's too high tech for us, Carly.
some of these are really fancy schmancy, but if you're thinking about someone who has memory problems or who has a disability, who it's not as simple as I'm using the rest of my ketchup, I'm gonna write it on my list. It's something that just takes a lot of those steps out and I'm throwing it away and this is gonna remind me I need to get more ketchup. So I know some of these are like, okay, you know, you are too fancy schmancy, who has the money for that? But just think about how that could make somebody who has no other way to be more independent.
This is probably our favorite thing to talk about, mealtime. We love to
Food.
snack and eat in our office. So there's all different types of devices that can be used. Some of these you may be familiar with. So there's protective gloves or finger covers that you can use while you're cutting. Sometimes this comes into play as we start to lose some dexterity and feeling in our hands. We may become more prone to cutting ourselves, so we want to make sure that we are protecting. A rocker knife, I use a rocker knife at home too, so you can demonstrate.
So you just rock back and forth and it would cut whatever you're trying to cut. So it takes away that need to stab it with my fork and then move my knife back and forth. You just kind of rock back and forth. I let my kids use them because this is a great way. They also make vegetable choppers that are kind of like that. It's a great way for kids to be safe, but also participate in meal prep too.
I use a rocker knife. I buy like the big blocks of cheese and then, you know, square it up for snacks. And I love the rocker knife for that. Your stomach?
My stomach's growling. We're talking about food. My stomach's like, lady.
A liquid level indicator is primarily used for people that have low vision or blindness. And it clips onto a cup or a bowl or whatever you're pouring liquid into. And as you're pouring, it'll beep as you're getting close to the top of the cup so that you're not overflowing. There's audible measuring cups, which sound exactly like what they are. They will, you know, say aloud how much you've measured out. We've talked about the automatic faucets. You can imagine how those come in handy in the kitchen. If your hands are messy, you just put your hands under and they're clean. Pull down shelves. So there's a picture here in the lower right. You know, oftentimes we find that people have upper cabinets that they're not utilizing at all because they're hard to get into. So the pull down shelf is if I open that upper cabinet and then I can just easily pull it down and then I have access to what is in that cabinet.
I just don't put anything up there.
You just don't put anything up there, but if you had a pull down, you could.
I put all my casserole dishes I'm never gonna use up there because I don't cook.
The iron.
The iron. They actually sell them at like the big box hardware stores. They sell them at Amazon. They do require, you know, being installed and you have to measure it to fit in your cupboard. But they sell them at like Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon has everything. If you're an Amazon.
What if you're,
shopper.
I'm short and
Yes.
everything is either falling in my face
Yeah.
or, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what.
The one-touch can openers are great. You know, I don't know about any of you, but I'm middle-aged now, but sometimes when I'm using a can opener a lot, I start to feel that in my hand. So that one-touch can opener, you know, just literally touch the button and it takes the top off for you.
You're just a kid.
I am just a kid, but I feel.
Just wait.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
The kettle tipper, Carly's gonna demonstrate for you. This is a great low-tech thing for
So
heavy.
we didn't bring a jug of milk, so this is our pretend jug of milk, because we're not gonna drink cleaning solution, right? But this, you would just, this is a Velcro strip that you could put any jug in here, a jug of milk, a jug of tea, a jug of whatever. And then instead of having to lift the jug and pour it, you would just, right? So here's my milk, and then I put my cup on the table, and I'm just gonna do this one motion to pour it over. So such a simple device, but could be so helpful to not have to lift up your milk and coordinate pouring it into the cup. They also make,
This is helpful if any of you have grandkids too, think about the little ones trying to pour a whole gallon of milk.
so that, you're good point. That might be a pain to fit in the refrigerator, so,
It's a great segue to what Carly's about to tell you.
Yes, so they also make really cool dispensers that you can screw on to like a milk or a juice or something. And then it has a tab that you would just put your drink up to it and it would pour out. So if you think about like when you're at a restaurant, fast food, and you just kind of put your drink up and that tab goes back and it just pours into your cup. Same concept, but you would just screw it on to whatever jug you have in your house. So that if the milk's right in the door, you would just open the door, put your cup up to it, and it's gonna pour your milk in there, and then, you don't have to take it out.
One
Pour
just go like this, whatever it's called, beer tap.
your tab. There you go. Same concept, yeah.
They also make pumps, just like if you think about your shower gel or your shampoo that has the pump on it, they'll make those for the milk jugs as well. The induction cooktop ranges are really nice for individuals maybe that are prone to burning themselves, so really prevents people from getting burnt more. And then we've talked about smart speakers quite a bit. Skip that.
So smart speakers are nice because you can ask like Alexa, show me recipes for mac and cheese, and it'll pull up recipe options. And then when you select a recipe, it will list your ingredients and you just click add to list and it'll make you a grocery list of things you need. So if you look up all your dinners for that week, you can make one grocery list and then pull it up on your phone at the grocery store and you already have your grocery list. And then it can also walk you through step by step with recipes. So it'll show you pictures, show you videos. And I always use mac and cheese as my example because one of the recipes that you can pull up tells you to make a roux. Again, I don't cook, so what is a roux, right? So I had to then say, Alexa, what's a roux? And then she pulls up a video. A roux is when you mix flour, butter. There you go. That makes you a roux for your mac and cheese. So it's cool because then you can ask the questions of, okay, the recipe told me to do this, but I have no idea. Or it tells me I need, I don't know, a good example, 8 ounces. Okay, well, I'm sitting here with, my measuring cup. Convert 8 ounces to a cup, right? Which is an easy one that I can do, but like a half a tablespoon, or some of those things, you can do those conversions through your smart speaker, which are things that I think are very helpful. So staying connected. So again, maybe we all experienced this a little bit with the pandemic. One of the positives of COVID was that maybe virtually we connected a little bit better with people that we didn't always see. So I know I did a lot of video calls with family that I have living all around the country. So it does help. Technology can help us just to stay connected to our loved ones, our grandkids who might live in a different state or other family members. So the C pen, that's kind of a random place for that to be, but that's the pen that Sarah was talking about that you can scan over devices and it will read it out loud to you. Smart watches are nice because you can do phone calls right through your watch. Do you have something to add? Yeah.
You getting assistance from anyone towards this by purchasing these items? Do you?
Yeah,
Yes. So I think, do we have a slide on that?
if we don't, we can touch
If we
on
don't,
it.
we'll come back to it. So smartwatches, you can make those calls. Smart speakers, again, you can call right through your different speakers. And if you have an Alexa, but maybe your loved one doesn't, they would just need the Alexa app on their phone. And so you could still call that way. You can do video calls. Google is the same way. So again, smartphones, tablets. This is a grand pad. Has anybody heard of that? It's a really simple tablet that's intended for older adults. And it's simple because it's just got these real simple buttons. It's not all the apps and all the overwhelming options. It's, do you want to make a call, an email, take a picture? What do you want? So it's really nice to use. And they, again, can be used to make video calls to loved ones or phone calls. And it also, you have to add, I believe it's this one that does this. You have to add the contacts so you won't get those spam calls, right? So it only, right, so it can only call, the contacts that you put programmed in, and they can only call you because they have your number programmed.
So some benefits of supportive technology, certainly increasing independence and increasing safety. Those are the two things that we kind of live, eat, and breathe, in our jobs are looking at safety and independence. But also, we can look at trends in your health and well-being. So we talked about, sending your weight and your blood sugar and all those things over to your doctor. Social emotional connection, we talked about this a lot during the pandemic, is just making sure that we can stay connected to our loved ones. Technology certainly got us through that time. Enhanced team support, so again, using the technology to communicate medication, health, wellness, even just having team meetings virtually. Peace of mind for caregivers and families. So if you have loved ones that maybe have had some falls, and just having that peace of mind that now they have a fall pendant, they have someone that'll be on the other end if they experience that kind of medical emergency. In the disability world, we also talk about less dependence on the physical staff. So there's been a real workforce kind of crisis in the developmental disability world where we don't have enough workers to provide that direct care. So when appropriate, we're looking at how can technology kind of fill in some of those gaps. Increased support during difficult to staff times. So again, what I just said, there's certain times of day that are harder to staff. So we find that some individuals don't really need staff overnight, and they can have someone available remotely, and that's just as, works just as well for them.
Or even for someone without a disability who might just need someone to come sort their meds. So again, you're not necessarily gonna be able to get a home health nurse or aide to come out and sort your meds. So, but maybe you could use technology or a bubble pack or something to just have your meds already sorted for you.
Yep. So there's Carly's info.
Yeah, oh geez, just call me, email me. Okay, so we didn't talk about funding. So in the developmental disabilities population, there's a few different funding sources. There's local funding from the county board. And then there's also waiver funding as well that can help to provide some assistive technology. I don't know, well, and the Ability Center is another good example. So the Ability Center, they have a lending library of some assistive technology, but also some DME and stuff that they'll just gift as well. So looking at those walkers, wheelchairs, canes, stuff, they often have those items that they'll just gift, but they also receive grant funding sometimes. So recently, I'm not sure if it's still available. Perfect. So right now they have a grant for Wood County specifically for people who are over the age of 65 to buy them whatever kind of DME or assistive technology they might need. So we have used that quite a bit because even just a simple walker or wheelchair anymore is so hard to get through insurance. Because it's kind of a low cost item, right? So even insurance doesn't want to buy it for people because it only costs $20. So they're like, go out and get your own $20, but that still could be a barrier for some people. So the Ability Center is a good resource, and that's specific to Wood County. So if you live in Wood County.
Yeah. So the Ability Center is in Sylvania, Ohio, but they serve Wood County as well. Here at the Wood County Committee on Aging, you guys have a durable medical equipment lending program, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can borrow anything.
Yeah,
Usually I think it's up to 6 months. And if you need it longer than that, all you gotta do is we sign the paper.
okay,
And they have wheelchairs, walkers, canes, toilet seats for your bathroom.
yeah.
You name it, they have. Cards,
Yeah.
somebody had surgery on their leg and they're not supposed to be walking. And you get a little
Rolling cart.
cart.
They're wonderful.
Pee on it.
Yeah, that's
Stay
great.
down.
There-
They have everything.
There's another organization, every state has an assistive technology hub. So AT, Assistive Technology Ohio, AT Ohio is located in Columbus. But they have a pretty expansive lending closet of the things that we talked about today. And they will lend it out to you for 30 to 60 days to trial, so you can at least make an informed purchase. Go ahead.
Okay, since you're, heading says aging,
Yes,
many people who are aging have hearing difficulties.
sure.
And what I would like to hear in another presentation that you give, if you're gonna talk about aging, the fact that people can get the telephone,
Uh-huh.
which is no cost, if the
Right.
audiologist signs it, and my husband has one, it's fantastic. The
Yeah.
words are on the screen,
Yeah,
so I didn't see that in your presentation.
yeah, it's a great thing.
Because this is definitely a thing for
Yeah.
aging people.
Yeah, so I think it was just what, in the past year and a half, that insurance started covering those phones 100%.
I don't know, we don't, my husband has this for a couple of years and
Oh, that's
doesn't get anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, your audiologist finds it.
that's perfect.
Do they have something like that for people that are losing their eyesight?
Yeah, so there's, for like TVs or for phones. So they make like the larger print phones. Also, we often talk about phones that are voice activated. So like the Apple phone would be Siri, Hey Google on the Android phones. So oftentimes we use that voice activation as an option if they're losing sight.
Well, the thing is, it's an older woman, she's like in her 80s, and she doesn't do the cell phone thing.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
all
they-
she has is a regular phone.
I think potentially like the large button.
they have the large buttons like landline phones.
Okay,
I don't know that there's any voice activated landlines, but I mean, they have ones with very large buttons.
okay.
So the Site Center, is then located in Toledo also, but they actually have a store at the Site Center where they sell low vision related products. So that might be a good resource for.
Okay.
And the way that we will help, real quick, I'm sorry, the way that we will help with some of that stuff is there's also really affordable ways that you can maybe adapt it. So for example, putting little, like puppy paint or glue dots on things so that you can feel. So the numbers is kind of hard, but if you put like 1 dot for 1, 2, you know, and then
Right,
kind of like
right.
dice almost. Which again, the buttons might be too small for that, but there are ways that, you know, occupational therapists or the site center can help kind of make those modifications. Thank you.
In the very back, I know you had.
Okay, I had a home visit from, the specialist from the, site center.
Oh,
And, we went over everything from the walking stick,
yeah,
to, setting up a uncasting color work tray.
Yeah.
Kitchen counter
yeah,
and, whatever.
they're great there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. feedback. Go ahead.
It's low tech, and also makes a lot of products for people who
Yeah.
have problems with their hands
Yeah,
and opening things.
yeah.
Yeah, you can open them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like that brand. That's what I try to have in my own kitchen, so.
Yeah.
And then, can you use, can you,
It's OXO. Go ahead.
what, did you ever lend an Android watch? Anyone?
We don't have any watches in our lending closet like that. I'm trying to picture if AT Ohio does.
An Android watch, I'd just like to try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Under the impression that you had to have your phone with you. That to be an effective, but I just found out that's not the case.
not necessarily.
Yeah, so mine is a Fitbit, which works with my Android phone. So mine is a Fitbit and I can go other places and I'll still receive my text messages. It's not super fancy in that I can't initiate a text message, but if I receive one, that I don't have my phone, I can respond. Or I can see it that way. Or if someone calls me, I can answer it when I'm not by my phone, but I can't initiate the phone
There's
call.
some
With-
Some
this is
watches
with this
now
watch.
that have actual cellular data, so you could essentially have a watch and not a phone and it would still
That's
operate.
what I'm.
Yeah.
interested in.
Mhm.
But one that does the fall detector.
Yes, so most of the
Smartwatches do.
smartwatches, I know the Apple does, and I think your Fitbit does. Did you have another question or comment? For the very back there?
No, I forgot about it.
Okay. If it comes back to you, let us know. Go ahead.
The fall button, what is that called?
This particular one is called the Bell X, BELLE, and then the letter X. But there's lots of them on the market that work very similarly to this.
That company, that we got that from is the same company that does the dose flip. So they were just
Okay.
generous enough to just give it to us for our little closet, which is why we have it. But most of them will have like a monthly fee with them because they have that cellular component to be able to call you. So it's just like your cell phone, they're gonna have a monthly fee on there to be able to use it. But I'm sure there's also probably assistance programs out there for those kind of buttons, because they do keep people safe, which in turn cost the healthcare system less, you know.
Are some of these covered by our insurance?
It's always good to ask. We are always kind of surprised pleasantly sometimes by what insurance will cover. So it doesn't hurt to ask. It's never a guarantee. But we've been pleasantly surprised on some things that we're like, oh, that'll never be covered, and then it is, so.
Yeah, I got an assisted devices account on my insurance,
Yeah,
but I don't see anything like that on any of that.
yeah. And sometimes it's just a matter of knowing how to word things when you're asking insurance. So,
Yeah, true.
so.
I don't speak the language.
Wood County Hospital has a lanyard deal. And
Okay.
yeah, so you can get them right locally if you want them.
Nice.
The Wood County Hospital has the fall detection lanyards available.
I don't know what the cost is. I do know they use a system where they will call you and then contact with your contact. with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's $32 a month.
$32 a month. See, we're learning so many things from all of you. And in the
And
back,
it's only in your area.
In your area.
Yard and your house.
gotcha,
Everything you go.
gotcha.
Okay.
Any other, do you have something? There's a couple of
I was gonna ask where you can get quick,
The rocker knife, the,
that's not the thing for the falls.
oh, yeah. So this one is from a company called Dauch Health. But she just said that they're also available at the Wood County
It sounds
Hospital.
like a really
Yeah.
better option to go locally.
Yeah, for sure. Most of these other kind of low tech things like the rocker knife and the kettle tipper, we ordered from Amazon. I don't know if any of you are Amazon shoppers. But you can find them at big box stores as well.
Yeah,
The one from Wood County Hospital is for in your home. Now, if
Okay.
you get in your car and drive down the street, it's not gonna do you a bit of good. It's
Gotcha.
gotta be strictly inside your home.
I'm pretty sure the Bell X.
Yeah, pop the chat.
I'm pretty sure the Bell X is $60 a month. So it's more expensive, but will work anywhere. So you can wear it everywhere and anytime you have a fall. Yes, thank you for coming. And feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. You know, even if you don't receive our services, obviously, I'm happy to answer questions. I like talking about this stuff, so happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you.